And then in the fall, I hope to come back to these. Does depend on where these other projects, how they manifest and where they take me. But if you have any questions, you can go to my website. All the emails go to me. My business is just me. So if you do info@northscale.com, north-scale.com, you'll get me, right? And I'll try to get through to the comments too. But today I want to talk about life, death, and the lies of our mind. I wasn't here last week or 2 weeks prior because these weeks in June for the past 15 years, I have spent 2 weeks in a monastic setting every June, going into the deep silence, waking up at 4:30 every morning, sitting from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Of course, there's breaks for food and other things, but we're sitting a good 7 to 9 hours every day, just breathing, just in the strong posture, sitting, breathing. All of the attention focused on the body breath. And what has been clear to me for years, but every time I sit more, it becomes progressively more clear, is that everything I think is a lie. It's all lies. And I've said this so many times in other classes before, our thoughts are made of words. Words are descriptors of reality. They're not reality, right? And so I've known this, right? I've practiced this, but really going into the silence for these past cumulatively 2 weeks, the first and last week of June, but especially having had the foundation that first week and then coming back to it this past week, to really see your thoughts and to let the mind settle and be that quiet to where you're really that present, that alive. So much more that's beyond the limited thinking mind becomes clear. Right? And it's literally phenomenal. Right? It's phenomenal. This existence that we have is precious and fleeting. And that's why this work is so important to me. I talk about that there's 5 main questions me and my private clients work together on: life, death, meaning, purpose, identity. And they're questions that we question. They're not meant to be answered, because when you get to an answer, well, that's a limit, that's a box. If you think you know it, you are limited. And this work is about going beyond the limits. And what became so clear to me, specifically this week, is how limiting thinking is. Thinking is limiting. There is so much to life that I don't experience because I'm stuck in my thoughts. There is such a vibrancy. There's an aliveness, a moreness that becomes clear when you are sitting in silence for extended periods of time. And it is, for lack of a better word, it's alive. You are alive. Your life is vibrant and connected. And I know that, obviously I'm talking now. There's a utility, and I had to think to write the email for now, right? And there are thoughts, and it's a tool that we can use. But the real art is knowing when to put the tool down and just live, right? There is often a sense that if I don't think, how will I know what to do? Well, this is where you test it out for yourself. But in my experience and 2,500 years of wisdom figures before me, thousands of years more than that, when you are silent, it's clear what needs to do or what needs not to be done. Life is clear. You actually don't have to think. I remember years ago with Sensei Ben Connolly from the Minnesota Zen Center, he does a week-long hiking retreat. So it's a silent Zen retreat, but you're hiking through somewhere in Montana. But when I was there, we were hiking through the Blackfoot Nation, which is just south of Glacier National Park, and it was astonishing to me in this land that really hadn't seen a human. We saw one human the first day. For the rest of the 7 days, we never saw another person. How abundant the earth is. Like, just walking every day, there was a new fruit. As the first there was blueberries, and then there were these thumbberries or thistleberries, and they were so abundant. And then there were strawberries. As one died off, another one came in, and there was more than we could eat. And we didn't look for it. It was just there. The bears, the birds, like, they don't have to plan life. And what becomes clear, and why this is so important, is we often try to do life. But when you go into nature, it's a receiving. And the more you can receive, the more you do live. And when you're just sitting in silence, practicing attention on your breath, you are practicing receiving. And it becomes clear you don't have to force a thing. And the peace that comes from that is something I hope for everyone. So this all comes back, this idea that all of your thoughts are lies is important because it directly affects how you live and how you die. Right? And we get one short, brief, fleeting life that I know of. So to live it, to be alive, to not be clouded and half alive or half asleep because you're in your mind and asleep to the reality of this vast existence. I don't know what even to say there, right? So the practice is key. And also it does come up in the silence, and part of the reason why there won't be classes for at least the summer. There might be some here or there if that comes up or it occurs to me. When you're quiet, other things come up, and there are feelings, and you're like, okay, I'm going to explore this, but there's no attachment to it. It's not, I need to make this happen, or it's going to work, or it's going to fail. It's like, okay, let's try this. Right? And I will follow. I receive ideas, I receive inspiration, and it feels good. It's not work to explore it. It's exciting to explore these things. So, and it became clear that if I wanted to focus on exploring these things, I had to make some cuts. And so this class will be one of the things that are cut as I explore these new things that came up consistently. And that's another thing that happens in the silence. You become very aware of when something is fleeting and not really worth attention, or if something's consistent and needs your attention. Actually, we talked about attention. There was a talk by one of my teachers, Sensei Jean Gallagher, Sensei Jean Sewa Gallagher, where she talked about attention. And she's a linguist. She's a professor of English at NYU, in addition to being a Zen teacher. And so it was her that really brought it to my cognition about how words are descriptors. She's an English professor, and she will often go into the etiology, the study of the words, to point to the more, because it is a tool that you can use as long as you are not being used by it. And when we're stuck in our thoughts, we're being used by the thinking, by the language. But so she went into this idea of attention, and she talked about how the root of attention is the French attendre, or attend. I don't speak French. But it's essentially, attention is to attend to attend to your life. You can either attend to your thoughts, or you can attend to your life. And the teaching that I want to look at this week is the koan that I worked on for the second time. So currently, when you're a student of Zen, specifically of the kind of Zen-I, you are working on these riddles. There's hundreds and hundreds of them. And I have been working on mine very slowly. I don't rush through them. There are students who came in way after me that are theoretically way ahead of me, but where is there to go anyway? I do like to sit with my koans and let them gestate and reveal themselves. So when you first start out as a Zen student, you work with something called the Mumonkan, which is the gateless gate, and it's 50 koans. And in my experience, if you really work through all 50 of those, you can't not wake up to reality. They really are direct pointers to reality. And one of the koans you first study is Nansen kills the cat. And I was surprised that now I'm on another book of koans, the Blue Cliff Record, Nansen kills the cat is also in this one. They break it into 2 koans. So I had to sit with it again. And I have to tell you, I didn't love this one the first time. So having to deal with it a second time was not an ideal. So Nansen, they all have 2 names. Nansen is his Japanese name, but he was actually Chinese. And so it's Nanchuan, kills a cat. And this is the case. At Nanchan's place one day, the monks of the eastern and western halls were arguing about a cat. When Nanchuan saw this, he held up the cat and said, "If you can speak, then I will not kill it." But no one in the community replied. Nanchan cut the cat into 2 pieces. Another way of saying this, so at Nanchan's monastery, Nansen is how I more know him. He was one of the greatest Zen teachers. He was so awake and aware. He pointed directly to reality. And, in the monastery, I guess there's eastern and western halls. Like here's the monastery in the middle, and here's the eastern dorm and the western dorm. And apparently the monks were in the courtyard, and there's a cat. And they're arguing about this cat. I don't know if the arguing is it's our cat or it's their cat or who feeds it or does the cat have Buddha nature? Like, is the cat enlightened? What is life? Is it alive? Is it a figment of our imagination? Is it, like I say, the word is not reality? Is it even a cat? I don't know what they were arguing about, but they were arguing. And when you begin, this is important. So there's many interpretations of this koan. I'm going to use it in one way today. When you're in your mind, if you begin to really look at your mind, you'll notice all of your thoughts are some argument. It might not be contentious, but it might be you, it's a diatribe, it's a story, it's a conjecture in your mind about reality, right? That's an argument about how you see reality. So these monks are arguing, like we often do in our own minds, over reality. They're not in reality, they're arguing about reality. And so the abbot, the head teacher, comes up and he sees this thing they're arguing about, and he's like, he holds it up. He's like, if you can actually say, and another translation is, if you can say one word of Zen, I won't kill it, right? And these monks are trying to figure out what Zen is. Zen is life, right? What is life? What does it mean to be alive? What does it mean to die? What is this? Arguing about what is life? What is death? Who am I? Who are you? What's right? What's wrong? All these argumentations. So he holds up the thing that they're arguing. He's like, if one of you can speak a word of what this actually is, I won't kill it. And they were all paralyzed. No one could say a word. So he kills the cat. So whether this is a proverb or an actual story about a killed cat, I don't know. It's a very famous Zen story. Kill the thing that you're arguing about. Am I right? Is he wrong? Kill it. Cut it in half. Come back to now. Cut it off. Cut the cat in half. Cut the argument in half and just breathe. Come back to your life. The argument is distracting you from reality. Can you say what it actually is? Even if one of the monks had said, I don't know, he at least would have done something, said something. Because Zen is about living. It's about direct action, right? It's not about some idea about life or death. It's about life and death right now. Live this dying moment. Live this living moment. So while I take off the rest of the summer, I leave you with this encouragement to sit, get quiet, notice the arguments of your mind. Notice how the monks of your own Eastern and Western halls will go at it. And it doesn't matter. What matters is this moment now. And when you get quiet, when you cut off those argumentations, you will open up into the more that is your life. You can't not. It's like if right now I had the AC and the fan going, which a few minutes before I started this, I did. It was very loud in here. I couldn't hear the cars honking. I couldn't hear other things because it was so loud in here with all these engines. But once I turn them off, I can hear so much more. I can experience so much more. The same with your mind. Once you quiet the engine of your mind, cut it off, you hear and experience so much more. And it is vibrant. And it is bigger than whatever your limited ideas could conceive of. So I encourage you to find time every day. I'm going to still continue the Thursday meditation classes for the summer unless I have some conflict, but it's always good for me to stop and sit. And it's the same Zoom link every week. So, and you can get that by going to my website, and there's a sign up thing. And if you are on my mailing list, you already have the link. It's the same link to just stop and breathe, to come into the quiet. Let the mud of your mind settle so you can hear the more that you are, that your life is. Practice cutting off the mind to come into the life. Right? And experiment with it. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for anything. Test this out for yourself. See what it's like to get quiet and experience your life. See what opens up for you. Right? Test it. Right? If when you get quiet, you find that your mind is louder and races more, that's good. That's a good sign. It's that you're noticing the mind. That mind has been doing it the whole time. But when we sit, we actually begin to hear it. It's like the AC and the fan were going the whole time, but I'm running around. When I sat, ooh, they're so loud. It's because I'm finally sitting and listening to them. The same with your mind. If it's loud when you first start sitting, good, you're hearing your own mind. Because until you hear it, you can't begin to look at it. And until you can hear it and look at it, you can't begin to see. It's all lies. It's all crap. So, with that said, much, much love to you. I still will try to write a couple of times. I'll definitely write next week as a reminder that there are no more classes, and to give the link for the Thursday class. And then I'm off to explore other avenues for this work that are pretty exciting to me right now, and I can't wait to see what may or may not come of them. So have a beautiful summer. Sit strong. There's videos on here too where I just walk into the sitting somewhere in there. So if you just want to do a sit and you like the way I teach, great. If not, there's so many other resources. And you don't even need a resource to sit. Just sit on the couch. Put the phone at least 10 feet away. Just sit there and tune into your body. Breathe. You don't need an app. You don't need a teacher. You don't actually need any of that. Less is more. Yeah? Ideally, do it outside too. Get into nature. Everything you need is in nature. You are nature. All right. With that, much love, much thanks. I will see you again somewhere, somehow. Big love.